Yo, 419. This one's for you, man. And adventure time as well. If you guys want to learn how to get mega twist from your rigs. Like, crazy twist. I'll be showing you. It's really easy. Okay, one of the first things you want to do, brass wheels. Super important. This is the lowest, widest spot you can put weight. And the other thing I do for the wheels is, okay, there's 3-piece, right? You got your outside, your inside, and then the ring. So what I do is I take lead weights and a tool like this. This is the perfect tool. So if you have something like this, you get your lead weight strip. If I can find one right here. And you just kind of jam it in all the way till it hits the back there and bite off a piece. And it's the perfect dimensions for sticking to that inside beadlock ring. And this will add about 25 grams per wheel. It's very important for twist. Alright, a few other things we'll look at here. Your links. Links actually impede the movement of your axle. So one of the things you want to do is, let's see, you get to zoom in here. Come on, there we go. So you'll notice the end only has one O-ring on it. That's on the smaller side of the two, right? This side of the brass won't push through, so I leave that without the O-ring. I just use this side to keep that little brass insert in there. And then you get lots of movement between the two. Free flowing now. Really, really nice. Key. Very, very key for getting flex. So you can see all the O-rings I took out. Alright. So just to show you, let's see if we can get a zoom in on that. So this wheel's coming in at 68 grams. And you put that little guy on there, 71 grams per side. So that's a nice addition. That's like 280, man. Just in your wheels alone. Like, that's awesome. So that's going to let your vehicle flex huge because those wheels really want to stay on the ground. What else do we need to look at here? Oh yeah, setting up your shocks. So one thing you want are the double barrels. Right, these guys, 43 mil at least 43 mils, because then you're getting 2 centimeters of travel. If you get the 53s, you get 27 mils of travel, which is awesome. But don't use these ones. These are the silver and gold or brass looking ones. They actually end up keeping the body from rolling. So as you're going over stuff, let's see here. So as you're going over things, you want your suspension to twist and not your body. Like if you got hard shocks in there, it's going to push your body over like that, which is going to make it roll. But if you just have nice squishy soft suspension, you're going to get that twist without it rolling. Like if you watch the last Glad video, right near the end, it goes off something like that where the tire is almost 90 degrees on the ground. And it just rolls over no problem. There's no way it could do that with the silver. I tried. I didn't film it because it just pissed me off that quickly. So these wheels are even heavier than these ones. I think just these wheels alone are 41 grams and these are 48. So I'd recommend these as well because they're even offset. I think it's a -3 mil offset. So with the 5 mil little extension, that guy, very, very handy. And these you're getting 8 on either side, which is really awesome. Really good for stability too on something like a Gladiator because it's longer, right? So you don't want to just have like this goofy shape like this driving out there. You're just gonna roll. So Gladiator should be wide. Or the Jeep, the JLUs, they are literally just the +5s. Another thing you could do too is you can get these guys, The JLU has them in there. Let's see, focus up on that. So you can see that little addition back there. So that adds, let's see here. So that adds another 10 grams, which is pretty awesome. So these wheels on the JLU are coming in at like 80 grams with that piece. So that's freaking, or 76, because I'm not using this guy, I'm using that other piece. What else? What else? What else? Oh yeah, on the JLU, what I've done with the double barrels in here is I've actually taken off the black that it came with, and I've put on the stock shock spring. I've taken the stock shocks apart and stole the spring from it and put it in there, just so it gets that really low stance to it, but it still can twist like crazy when it needs to. So that's really handy to have as well, because then your rig's going to sit nice and low as it goes over stuff, but it can still twist and do whatever it needs to. Alright, this is what the inside of the JLU looks like now. So I have the micro Komodo in there, and all I really did was move the ESC over and chop out a little portion of that, just for that micro Komodo to fit. So that keeps the weight up front, because these things weigh like 15 grams or so, which is pretty heavy. Ooh, excuse me, sneeze. Alright, so when you do that, you're going to get, your climbing is going to be affected because of the lack of spring, right? So one thing I do is, you notice here, this is, I don't run bumpers on the front, because that actually prevents you from climbing stuff. So this thing can literally climb up 90 degrees. It can hit a wall and just go up it. If that bumper was there, it would be able to do that. So what I've done is I've taken the bumper ends here. Focus please, there we go. You can see that. I flipped them around, and they're like little hooks now for an elastic. I run the elastic under the servo, which keeps that front end nice and low when it's climbing. If not, you're gonna kick back like this, which is gonna end up tipping your vehicle back. So it can climb like this now instead of out like this, which makes for way better performance. I was in Jason's live stream last night, and a lot of the guys, they just love their stock shocks. I can't stand them. I think they're trash and they shouldn't be used ever. But they have a little click where they just, yeah, stock shocks are great. They're not great. They're terrible. There's a reason they're stock. They're just crappy and cheap. So you want at least double barrels to get your 20 mils flex with. And then you strap them. A lot of guys, they say strap them out here right at the end of the axle. I find that to be particularly stupid, as it's going to stop that wheel from flexing, because the strap's way out here, right? I don't understand why people do that. So if you're going to strap it right in the middle of the axle, so it keeps it down when you're climbing, but you can still get your flex out of it. That's extremely key. If you don't do that, it's going to be, there's no point in doing any of this then. And in the back here, the back gets a little bit strange. Alright, let's zoom in on that a bit better. Alright, so you can see at the top of the diff here, you got the little piece that your links hook up to. I take that off and I put the elastic band under there. And then the elastic band goes in front of the normal shock housing tower piece, whatever you want to call it. And it just sits under there. Actually, I'll take the battery out to show you. So it's actually just under the battery tray back there. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit better. See, come on, fingers. See, right there. And then that way, it's just pulling the axle straight up. It's not pulling it this way, so it's impeding your flex. I don't know why those guys think that single barrel shocks or just stock shocks are good. I don't get it. If you're going to do that, you're probably going to want to get those flex blades, which basically create this, the double barrels, because they allow the pivot point in the shock to flex even longer, something like whatever, and then it twists, right? So that's pretty handy too. If you're going to run stock, I'd get flex blades or something like that, frog blades or whatever, I can't remember, but I refuse to use those. I don't like them. I think the double barrels are primo. You just have to know how to set them up. So you can see this little guy here stretched out over time. I do have them hooked underneath there just to give a little more retention for when it's going downhill, so it keeps it a little bit closer. Or you can do, if you don't want to do that, you can add 2 rubber bands here right in the middle. That'll still let you get your flex, but as you're going over a bump, it's not going to really kick this way out really far. It's going to keep it closer so you can actually downhill. Alright, what else is there? Thinking. Yeah, I think the O-rings and heavy tires are pretty much key. This mod, where I use the lead, I think it costs about $3 per truck. It's pretty sweet. O-rings get rid. Oh yeah, O-rings on the shocks too. So you'll notice up at the top here. See if I can zoom in on that better. All right, you can see there's not an O-ring on that side, but there is on the back side, right? Just that one side to keep that little brass bushing or aluminum bushing, whatever it is, locked in there. So when you're actually putting them together, that piece doesn't fall out. And clearly this side, the bigger side, goes on the outside, so it all stays apart and your shock just can't pop off, right? But you can hear it's kind of rattly. That's going to let that flex happen without anything impeding it, stopping it, preventing it. So this JLU is crazy twisty. Like, that's probably 75 degrees, and if I push it, I can go a little bit farther. So as it's ripping, like, you can climb over some crazy stuff. And that's pretty much the key to getting the flex from your rigs. Like, I didn't put the bumpers back on this guy, I just flexed out the chassis here. And it seems to hold that elastic band on pretty well. I do the same position on the back, as you can see there, underneath the links. Really easy to do. It's kind of goofy, you got to take your body off, but whatever. Lets that twist, but it keeps that from kicking when you're going downhill. Very handy. Just little tricks like that you learn over time. I watched Cape Crawlers. He showed me how to do the O-ring trick, and it seems like almost no one does the shaped lead. They'll use solder, they'll use BBs, but you're not going to get the weight. Like, lead is the best, and it's the softest. It's really easy to bend. So if you're looking how to get these bent like this, I just take a spark plug socket and a pair of channel locks, slap it down against it, and just squish it, and just start. You'll notice the channel locks have a little indentation inside of them, like for grabbing whatever pipes, you know, round things. Just use that and just go around, and you'll slowly get it shaped like this, which is pretty sweet. You get a bunch of them. I think it takes 5 or 6, and you got to cut one in half or quarter or whatever. Oh, kitty. Yeah, and that's pretty much that.